Hi guys, today we're going back to Reggie. I feel the need to go and watch some Reggie shit, so I picked one at random. I know this one has been said before, but it's probably not the ones that everyone's been recommending, because I can't remember. Genuinely can't remember, but I mean, we'll get to it eventually. So, let's do it.
The elderly, truly some of the most terrifying creatures in the entire Warhammer universe, because
I was gonna say Troy, but I don't know. I think that's more the orcs or the Skaven. They're the most terrifying for
they
real.
spend their entire day skittering through the forests like an osteoporotic centipede while using strange ingredients to conjure dark magic. And even if you are their ally, there's at least a 50% chance they'll forget this and shoot you with a crossbow. But we won't have to worry about that, because today we are the elderly, and we're going to be trying to survive the apocalypse. And no, I'm not talking about a flight of stairs. We're up against a vampire apocalypse, except this time I've installed a mod that increases its difficulty by 1000%, which inevitably
1000% brutal
results in this. There's only going to be two rules to win. We must 1. Assassinate Vlad von Karstein, and
Easy. I know how to deal with this. I know how to deal with this. Even though I know nothing about the Warhammer fantasy, all you gotta do is throw garlic time. Problem solved.
2. Protect Kislev at all costs. If at any point I lose this city, I will delete the save before detonating
Why Kislev? Oh god. I was at such a horrible time. Holy
my
shit.
explosive vest, which will instantly vaporize myself along with my 200 square foot apartment.
That is so unnecessary. It's so unfucking necessary.
But before we begin, I have a question for you. Have you ever felt like your paintings were somehow inadequate? Like they lacked the strength and certainty of cold hard steel? Well, look.
Yes, all the time. I get that all the time. All those many paintings that I spent hours painting.
No further, because this video is sponsored by Displate, a company which sells premium branded artwork printed.
Okay, I can actually vouch for this. I actually have some displays. They're fucking good. Like, legitimately, they're fucking
directly
good.
onto a sleek, smooth metal canvas. You want this item, and I'll tell you why. Because it's not okay to cut down an entire rainforest just to decorate your room.
I mean...
Trees are alive, and they have feelings.
What the fuck was that?
Entire rainforest just to decorate your room. Trees are alive.
Damn, I was gonna say that cake is treed up. That tree's got bigger cake than me. Holy fuck. Well, actually, no, probably not. But
and
still.
they have feelings. You know what doesn't have feelings? Rocks. We're gonna go to war with the rocks, and we're gonna make so many high-quality metal posters out of them, it's gonna be absolutely nuts. You'll be able to get whatever you're passionate about. Neo-Japanese, 18th century Spanish artwork, even Warhammer.
Warhammer? Oh wow.
It's all there, and the best part, they're going to be super durable. In fact, I like to use my Displate as a ballistic shield. Legally, that's not a suggestion, just a personal preference. Additionally,
no, it's a recommendation. It's a recommendation to use them as ballistic
Displates are incredibly easy to mount. No more slamming holes in your drywall. Simply put the sticker on the wall, attach the magnet to the sticker, attach the Displate to the magnet, and luxuriate in the bliss of high culture. Also, don't forget, each Displate is a collector's item. That's why I hang mine
Wait, is it actually?
with the plastic wrap still on. So what are you waiting for? Click the link below and use my discount code to get some Displates for up to 35% off.
Bro, that's so unhinged that he has the plastic still on them. That's actually like barbaric behavior.
And your order should reach you within 4 to 5 days directly from Europe. Thank you, Displate. Now back to the video. Alright, here we are on the bleak coast. I know it may look like the site of a nuclear detonation, but don't be deceived. It's actually much, much worse. Because to our north are the Dark Elves, our east, Dark Elves, and our south, yes indeed, Dark.
I was guessing greenskins. Okay, I guess I didn't see what this was doing.
Being surrounded by this many slimy freaks has increased our chances of being victimized with a strap-on by upwards of 90%, and I don't like those odds.
What the fuck, bro? Huh? That was so unnecessary.
So I decided to start proactively killing my neighbors. After a few turns, we
as every good person does in Warhammer, kill your
We had made our way
neighbors.
down the coast to a battle at Arnheim, where several elves intended to massacre us, but what they didn't realize was that I had already recruited a deranged leper who has conditioned a flock of crows to attack his enemies. The crows pecked and clawed at our adversaries, weakening them substantially and allowing my small collection of
Wait, he's using attack crows. Oh my god, that's so based. That's actually smart, because they're smart as fuck. So attack crows would actually be based.
spiders to overwhelm them. This is but a fraction of the power you can unlock by becoming senile. Speaking of which, Mother Astankia has a small but formidable sweatshop called the Witch's Hut. You see, when we defeat an opponent, we gather magical trinkets from them, such as their teeth and sometimes even their spines. We can then combine
How are they magical? Explain that to me. I don't.
these items at the Witch's Hut to generate powerful buffs for our units. For example, by combining a rotting femur with an elven skull, we can create a consumable that causes our soldiers to explode on death. After giving this item to a group of inebriated farmers, we have effectively converted 120 men
Into suicide bombers. What the bro? It's so
into
fucked.
120 mobilized bricks of C4. The best part is that the
Or that.
more of these trinkets we create, the stronger we become, unlocking new and powerful hexes, which is good, because if we want to have any hope of surviving Armageddon, we're going to need Astankia's final and most influential hex. But that's a long ways away, and the fastest way to get there is by killing a lot of people and harvesting their body parts for art.
This is so fucked. I didn't know this was in the game, legitimately. I've never seen this, like, old lady before. This is actually fucked
and crafts
up.
projects. So let's continue. With the first faction of elves defeated, we can now begin some infrastructural renovations. Personally, I recommend destroying the Earthen Hollow, because all it does is let you recruit spiders. And I know
Oh, okay, yeah, that's the first thing going. That's the first thing. Out of here. Out of here. Get out. No
bug
sprutus,
maxing
please.
may look cool and fun, but it's
No, it's cringe and
not,
deranged.
and it sucks. So we're
Yeah, exactly. It sucks.
replacing this with the only building chain you need in the entire game, the Eerie Woods. This allows us to recruit Akshina and
God, there's furs in the gear. Oh no. These things. What are these fucking thing? There's furs in the game. Oh wait. Oh my god. For no. For a hot minute, I thought this was the actual head. There's a fucking head here. There are people. It's a bare skin. Oh, okay. We're fine. We're fine. They're just cosplaying as them. It's
ambushers,
fine.
which you will soon realize are absolutely broken. But for now, I need to communicate with my neighbor, and the only language I speak is violence. So I declare
I mean, do we have to be violent?
for now,
I
I need to communicate with my neighbor, and the only
I mean, look at her. Do we have to be violent? We don't have to be. You know, we could be friends. We could hold hands. You know, platonically, of course, platonically. Nothing sussy going on here. Just two friends holding hands. Platonically.
language I speak is violence. So I declared war on Marathi and invaded her territory. She attempted to stop us at the Petrified Forest, but remember those Akshina ambushers? Yeah, well,
I
they have the
do.
stalk ability, which makes them functionally invisible, and I also unlocked Snipe, which allows them to fire without revealing their position. This
That's broken, bro.
combination enables them to stand 20 feet away from someone and shoot them in the side of the head without anyone even noticing. Anyway, I used this technique to slaughter most of Marathi's army, and whoever survived was eventually ground to dust against my meat shield of Eastern Europeans. Truly a horrifying death. Much
Fucking truly.
like
Really?
a small child doing battle against a steamroller, the Dark Elf military
What? If I unpause, I think something that's gonna happen. Oh no.
was flattened, at which point they sent us a
No.
message begging
That was awful. That actually made me uncomfortable.
for peace, and I took that personally. So I divided my armies up and violently acquired the rest of their property. But for each action, there is an equal and opposite reaction.
Ooh, I know that. That's Newton's Third Law. See, I know that. Do you want to know where I learned that from? It wasn't from school. I learned that from a Halo novel. legitimately, I learned that from a Halo novel where ODSTs had to use their guns as like pocket rockets as they jumped out into space and had to like maneuver themselves, firing their rifles and using that to get them back on board to like a safe area. I distinctly remember that.
And in this case, it took the form of a horde of men covered in feces marauding their way through my territory and burning my cities to the ground. I wasn't prepared for this, and by the time I stopped them, my economy was devastated. So I had
There's nothing in them
to start getting creative to make money. For example, I sailed across the ocean and attacked Count Noctilus for the crime of violating a restraining order that existed exclusively in my head. The simple
the worst kind of violation. The ones in your head, bro.
act of beating a waterlogged corpse with a hammer had apparently made me a hero among the High Elves, and I was able to forge an alliance with Tora Nock and sell them back their own settlement for 1,700 gold. Not too
Oh shit, that's actually fucking high,
bad.
bro.
Around this time, my armies also started doing this weird thing where they would move at superhuman speeds on the campaign map. I don't know
Yeah, I've never seen stuff move that fast, even on sped up. What the
how
fuck?
to explain this, but it is equally frightening and convenient. In other news, we
Holy
engaged in a
shit.
quest battle against some Skaven and Nurgle warriors, and I'll just summarize it by saying they didn't bring enough missile resistance. By defeating them, we acquired some magical ingredients, 9,000 gold, and
Yeah, but it's gonna be stinky because Nurgle. After playing my second game, I went up against Nurgle for the first time. I fucking hate Nurgle. I legitimately. Okay, I'm gonna like rescind and redact my dislike of Space Wolves because I played with Space Wolves as an ally. They're fucking scary on the tabletop. I'm glad they were an ally. Fuck the Death Guard. Fuck the Death Guard. I wouldn't. After playing against them once, I had such a fucking horrific experience. I will never, ever, ever touch Death Guard in my life. Never. I was never going to anyway, but this just like reinforces this severe hatred for Nurgle. I fucking hate the Death Guard so much. I fucking hate them. I'm actually tempted to make the next like scuffed battle report just that, just my experience going against Nurgle for the first time. I might actually do that, yeah.
we unlocked Astankia's second hex, Coven's Curse Mark. This allows us to target enemy armies on the campaign map and drain their movement points, effectively stun-locking them for 5 turns. Between this
Bro's fucking power walking on that treadmill, what the fuck, bro?
and the ambushers, you should be realizing that this faction's existence is predicated entirely on the merits of being a scumbag. Anyway, all of this killing
Of course, Bobby Conning.
has drawn the attention of a new Kislev hero, the Golden Knight. She's a melee specialist that also has a number of support auras for nearby soldiers, but most importantly, she looks very, very cool.
I have to admit, I don't really like all gold, but this looks kind of
So
cool.
we recruited her to Astankia's army and prepared for our next move, which is to go from here to here. But how will we do that? Well, if our
Wait, I'm gonna guess. Teleport. I'm gonna guess teleport. That's my final
sweatshop
answer.
can produce enough gift store trinkets, we'll receive a quest battle to unlock our next major spell, and we can use that to teleport to Kislev. I just need
Fucking called it. Fucking
more
called it.
ingredients, and I think I know where to find them. I declared war on the Sisters of Twilight and structured my whole military philosophy around not fighting them in their god-forsaken settlements. That's just a moral stance I take because their maps suck. But we can't always get what we want. Don't worry though, I'll tell you exactly how to get through this. Simply enter the battle and leave your Akshina ambushers right here. Place the game on triple speed and go smoke 5 or 6 cigarettes.
Well, what is this?
By the time you come back, all of the elves will be dead, and you'll be addicted to nicotine. This tactic
So a win-win. Let's go.
allowed Astankia to girl boss her way through the remaining Wood Elf territories, which unlocked our next quest battle. This quest is, on paper, very easy. We're working with one gang of Wood Elves to kill another, and as a supporter of elf-on-elf violence, I was
As we all should be.
positively thrilled. The issue is this gigantic dickhead needs to survive. I tried to protect him, I really did, but he displayed a mind-boggling amount of suicidal tendencies. For example, he spent the entire battle standing perfectly still and letting enemy archers light him on fire. This caused him to die
I was gonna say, it seems like he wanted to self-delete
and
there.
us to fail the quest, which for some reason killed all of my ambushers. To put it simply, I was pissed. 5 turns later, we tried again, and it went much better, because I successfully disabled the archers by running over them in a toboggan and hitting them with every spell I have access to.
Let's go, get rid of those pesky archers.
Clearly distraught by the fact he couldn't grief me anymore, my tree-man ally wandered off into the forest by himself, leaving me alone to defeat the remaining enemies, and honestly, I was relieved. After a fairly messy battle, we came out on top, unlocking Astankia's teleportation ability. I was pretty hopped up on the high of killing wood elves, and in this frenzy, I quickly teleported my main army to Kislev. Perhaps sensing this, our Skaven neighbors declared war on us back at home, launching a
Yeah, but they're Skaven. They're just stinky rats. You can forget about
attacks
them.
in the north and the south. I responded with 2 different tactics. In the north, I used my hex to stunlock the enemy general for 5 turns and make him watch as I captured all
Do that? Hey yo, what is this fucking character?
of his territory. I believe he could appreciate this tactic because, much like the Skaven, it was absolutely filthy. In the south, I intercepted their army and used one of our most powerful trinkets, the Whiff of Madness. By putting this on an enemy, it causes them to suffer a psychotic break, during which they'll spend the entire battle running around in circles until they tire themselves out and give up. I just so happened to have like 15
That's amazing. That's actually fucking amazing.
of these trinkets, so I put them on every unit I could, including the enemy general. We still had to kill a few people just to prove a point, but the trinkets made
Yeah, but they're fucking Skaven.
them
You
so
got this.
acutely insane that they forgot how their weapons worked, which is why their flamethrower squad is currently frothing at the mouth and charging into melee combat. As you may imagine, this tactic was less than effective. Now
What do you mean? What do you mean? Close quarters with flamethrowers? That's highly effective. Melee, on the other hand.
back to Kislev. Immediately upon exiting the portal, the first thing I saw was a wood elf, and before I could think, my reflexes kicked in, causing me to
I fucking knew that's where he's just going. Yeah, he's gonna fucking wipe them
declare
out.
war on their entire faction and eviscerate thousands of non-combatants. Honestly, they shouldn't have put me in a self-defense situation like that. Alright, so we're here in Kislev and it's kind of a mess. We have mutated rats, sadomasochistic orcs, short people who are not coping well,
Fuck the dwarves. Yeah, no, didn't wipe them out. Put them out of their misery.
and a man who probably spends his spare time luxuriating in septic tanks. Truly a sick and twisted assortment of characters, and they're all trying to destroy our capital city. Right
They all deserve to be wiped
now,
out.
it belongs to Katerin, but honestly, I really don't trust her. So I'm going to confederate her faction. The only issue
Wait, why don't you trust
is
her?
she thinks we're a bunch of losers and doesn't want to team up. I tried everything to impress her. I massacred 1,700 wood elves. She didn't care. I slaughtered over 5,000 orcs. Still nothing. I even tried giving her
Huh?
settlements, but yet she ignored my advances.
What a fucking bitch. Okay, goddamn, she's a hard bitch to please.
That's when I took the biggest black pill of all and realized the key to getting the girl of your dreams is not to improve yourself, but rather to make her worse. So from here on out, I started focusing all of
No, that's not how you handle this situation. That's the complete wrong answer.
my resources on making Katerin lose the war. If we can make her start losing, she just might become desperate enough to accept me into her life. So how can we sabotage her empire? Well, I started by using my teleportation spell to relocate Katerin to the middle of the desert. With her main army now in a sand dune 1,200 miles away, I figured she may be nervous, so I offered a defensive alliance, which I then used to force her into several wars with her neighbors. The pressure was mounting, but she was still holding her own with a second army, so he had to go on vacation as well. Finally, this
What is this fucking character for real, bro? For real?
caused her to start losing ground to the Chaos Dwarves and Skaven, which is when I graciously offered to confederate our factions, and of course, she accepted. Gentlemen, I believe this form of emotional manipulation is what the autistic youth are calling Riz. So, we now own all
No, that's not. That's not.
of Kislev's territories, which immediately put our income at a very impressive -8,000 gold per turn.
Yo, it honestly takes skill to lose that much money every fucking turn,
But after
bro.
abandoning the North African division of our military, we were back to being profitable, very profitable. This influx of income and military infrastructure allowed me to finally start building armies that weren't just a bunch of Slavic men in explosive vests. I spared no expense. Winged hussars for cav charging our enemies, artillery platforms drawn by polar bears, and an entire army of
Wait, the Express has fucking cavalry artillery now? Excuse you? I've honestly not paying attention to anything because Kislev, I could not care less. They're just another human faction. Okay. They're just Slavic humans. To me, that's not interesting at all.
Ice Guard, which, if you put them under Katarin's command, are actually cheaper to use than even the drunkest and most chromosomally compromised commoners. This might seem like a lot, but we're going to need it, because when we confederated with Katarin, we inherited all of her wars, and Azazel, Throt, Astrogoth Ironhand, Archaean, and Festus are all looking at me in much the same way a Dark Elf looks.
Hello? What was... Not this poser, but what was that before?
At a kindergarten.
He's pulling his cock out!
Unsurprisingly, the next 10 turns involved us being molested, but eventually we managed to stabilize our borders and start picking off our enemies. The first and most immediate threat was Azazel and his army of kinky warriors. They started beating
Yo.
the hell out of me along the west coast, and I have to say, being beaten up by Azazel is especially humiliating, because you know he's not just hurting you, but he's also extracting sexual gratification from it. Disgusting. However,
Fuck, bro. Okay, I didn't think of it like that, but that's actually kind of weird.
we struck back. For example, I made this trinket that I could put on his spellcasters, and it gives them about a 40% chance for any spell they cast to backfire and blow their head off. With Azazel's commanders taking the Kurt Cobain challenge, I was able to wear down his armies and move Astankia to his capital city, which was defended.
Sorry, this Kurt Cobain challenge is so fucked up. It's so fucked up,
by
bro.
Azazel himself, along with an army of sexually liberated deviants. Actually, never mind. I just teleported them to Orion's camp and steamrolled their fortress. That takes care of the Ecstatic Legion. While this was distracting me, Throt took the opportunity to rush our capital city with two pretty nasty armies. And with that, the first major defense of Kislev was underway. Our towers made pretty short work of the first army, but they did manage to blast a hole in one of our walls. Normally, this isn't so bad, because you can just block it with some infantry, but they have Gorich, and nothing in my entire roster can block Gorich. So he spent the next 10 minutes at the east wall turning my infantry into a human variant of mashed potatoes. Meanwhile, Throt attacked us to the north. Piss-soaked bullets peppered my battlements.
Piss-soaked? Why? Why piss-soaked, bro?
While hordes of filthy rodents scaled the walls. Throt himself crashed through the gates with a posse of mutated rats and started wailing on Katarin.
Wait, isn't Trot the one that's like... I remember from the last fucking Warhammer video, or maybe one before. Isn't he like, the one that has like the genetic manipulation
And
stuff?
judging by the pile of mashed up dog food that has now replaced her face, she's losing that battle pretty bad.
no.
Luckily, Throt is losing his battle against my 4 squads of archers, and once we killed him, his units started to scatter, only to be stalked through the streets by my frostworms. Not long after, we won the siege, and with the main Skaven armies destroyed, there was nothing stopping me from auto-resolving the shit out of his capital city. This left Clan Moulder in some kind of vegetative state.
Let's go. Best kind of state to be in. Well,
Still technically
alive.
alive, but so impotent that no one would take them seriously ever again. Back at home, a faction of Dark Elves decided to take a break from their busy schedule of hanging around playgrounds in a trench coat in order to declare war on me. So I shot them with a lot of cannons, and they asked for peace on the next turn. Back to Kislev. With Throt and Azazel defeated, I was able to link up my armies and castrate Astrogoth Ironhand using the medically correct device known as a flintlock pistol. Unsurprisingly,
Okay, I don't know for sure. I'm not a medical professional, but I'm pretty sure a flintlock pistol isn't the correct tool for that specific procedure. I don't know, you know, I could be wrong.
Surprisingly, this procedure diminished his enthusiasm to continue the war, and as I stood there hyperventilating with bits of Chaos Dwarf dripping from my bloody knuckles, I realized something. The amount of peace treaties we receive seems to be directly proportional to the number of Chaos Dwarves that we club, so I continued to use Astrogoth as a punching bag until I had convinced everyone to leave me alone.
I mean, he's a chaos dwarf. He's probably into that in some weird way. So technically, if you really think about it, and don't actually think about it, you're doing them a
The only
favor.
holdout was Festus. I know Festus may look like a little piss baby, but he's actually quite dangerous, so I teleported in some reinforcements. However, he was waiting for that and he absolutely slaughtered us. This was an army full of artillery that I had just recruited, and losing it made me briefly consider crushing the cyanide capsule in my back left molar. But before I had the chance, I was interrupted by this. Oh, fuck. The vampire apocalypse has started, and it's so bad that despite being one of the strongest factions in the game, you can't even see me on the balance of power. After this happened, Festus and I looked at each other in bewilderment and quickly settled on a peace
They're gonna kiss. They're gonna kiss. They're gonna
agreement.
kiss.
We're now in a difficult position. We need to
Damn
kill
it.
Vlad, but he's nestled in between like 25 other vampires.
I forgot about that. Yeah, killing Vlad. Oh my god.
And if we overextend ourselves, they could rush Kislev and make us lose the campaign. But on the upside, I've spent the last 15 turns outfitting my armies with the latest Eastern European technology. For example, Yevgeny Turin has an army of over 2,500 pet spiders. Ostankya has
Wait, I thought you got rid of the
an army
spooters.
of vaguely civilized Gopniks, and Valentin has a formidable front line along with several cannons.
Wow.
Altogether, we're ready for anything. So, what's the plan?
I still don't think you're gonna get them because they have zombies and skellies, and they can just regenerate them. I think you're kind of fucked,
Well,
bro.
Vlad is being very defensive, and he seems to be fixated entirely on this settlement. So I took 4 of my armies and flanked them around to the west, while Ostankya stayed behind to defend. In the west, I encountered some of his auxiliary forces, and they were very well equipped with a variety of undead monstrosities. But there is one very key ingredient that he does not have access to. Gun. Using our
Okay, yeah. Trying to demolish them. Okay, yeah, gun beat everything when it comes to fantasy games. Just in general, any like issue you have in a medieval setting, like Warhammer, for instance, just bring a gun and it kind of solves all of those problems.
superior firepower, we blasted our way down to Schwarzhaven and captured the city. From here, we do a little trolling. Since we control a settlement in the same province as Vlad, I can use a purification chant to cleanse the entire region from all vampiric corruption. After doing this, each of his armies started taking
Christian, yeah. Oh my god, that's so fucking
attrition
genius.
damage for not being in vampiric territory. If we can just hold them off long enough, their entire military
They'll just rot away, like literally just rot and decay
will
away.
crumble, and then we can swing in, beat the hell out of Vlad, and be back home in time for traditionally delicious jellied meat. The only issue is, this little maneuver pissed them
That meat, oh god. On streams, we've had some weird fucking food streams. I haven't cooked, but we've found some of the most weird, disgusting food ever. I should do one of those again. It's like weird, like 80s, like 70s food.
off pretty good, and they attacked Ostankya with 3 full armies. Fortunately, I've prepared for this moment, because I have accumulated an extensive stockpile of grotesque trinkets, which I began liberally distributing.
Was that Joe Biden
I
in
have
a
accumulated
jar?
an extensive stockpile of grotesque
My fucking god. Oh my god. Oh my god. The internet was a mistake.
trinkets, which I began liberally distributing among the attackers. Every opposing commander is now violently insane. The infantry have a 100 DPS curse that is contagious. Oh, and minus 20% movement speed on your cavalry? Don't mind if I do. By the time I was finished, I had applied about 45 debuffs to the enemies. I load into the battle and notice that about half of the vampire's units are already in rampage mode. That's exactly when I began edging. They attempted to organize
Excuse you, what? Both hands on the keyboard, mister. Both fucking hands on the
their
keyboard.
forces, but this was made considerably more difficult by me blowing their heads off with a crossbow. Eventually, they assembled something vaguely resembling a military formation and started shambling across the field towards us. My front line is equipped with axes and flintlock pistols, and we started wearing the vampires down on approach. But eventually, they overwhelmed my gun line through human wave tactics, and the melee began. This first wave
Okay, how are we gonna get out of this one then, Chief? If they manage to get past your gun line, how are you gonna do
was
this?
an absolute slaughter that lasted around 10 minutes and burnt through about 70% of our ammunition. Thankfully, it got easier from here. You see, they have thousands of reinforcements, but there's a limit to how many units can be on the field at a time, and since they already
Oh wait, Really? I just didn't know that. I thought you could just like spam
We have
units.
1,500 soldiers dicking around in frenzy mode. They're only getting a slow stream of actually lucid soldiers to attack us with. Given
Oh, so just fucking deal with them as they come. I
this, we were able to
see.
slowly digest his entire army over the next 30 minutes, and that's when I stopped edging. After this battle, I pulled Estancia back to Fort Chikova to recover. She's in rough shape, but at least the entire vampire military is slowly decomposing. Actually, no, they're not. They appear to be taking refuge at Castle Tempelhof, which is the only
Oh, those rat bastards. They didn't take you out fucking defeat like I'm
the Vampiric
down.
province left on the map, but that's alright, because I've got a plan B. You see, we finally have our quest battle to unlock the most powerful spell in the entire game. Malediction of Ruin is a single-use ability that nukes an entire faction, hitting their armies with massive attrition and depopulating their cities. If we nail the vampires with this, it's a death sentence, and all we have to do to get it is win this quest battle. Honestly, I'm going to consolidate this battle a lot, because it pretty much boiled down to us being attacked by 5 different undead armies one after another, each
Oh shit, okay, I was gonna say, I thought this would be like a fucking easy W, but
led
apparently
by a
no.
necromancer, specter, or banshee. After shooting said necromancer, specter, or banshee with 1,700
Wait, how do you shoot a spectre or banshee? Aren't they like incorporeal?
crossbow bolts, they promptly died, which caused their army to physically dematerialize. We did that 5 times in a row,
Ayy.
casted a few big spells to clean up the leftovers, and before long the battle was over and we had unlocked our new spell. This was it. 100 turns of empire building, tens of thousands of casualties, and a whole garage full of weird body parts. It all led up to this moment right here, where I apply the Malediction of Ruin to Vlad and wipe his faction off the map. My hand tentatively hovered over the button as if I was
Do
about to
it,
melt
do
a
it.
bunch of Japanese people with a nuclear weapon. I
What? You didn't need that comparison, bro. That was so fun.
clicked it, leaned back in my chair, and it didn't work. I waited about 5 turns, nothing was happening. Vlad still had like 20 full stack armies and his cities were absolutely fine. It's safe to say I was more than a little upset, but it's okay because I always come prepared with a plan C. Before failing
Good.
catastrophically, plans A and B relied heavily on attrition, which is why you may be disappointed but also unsurprised to hear that plan C is again about attrition. You see, I've been
How did I know that? How did I know? I knew that was gonna fucking be the case.
very effective in containing Vlad to Sylvania, and at this point he has only 2 settlements, Castle Drakenhof and Eschen, but since they don't have vampiric corruption, his armies aren't defending them, so all I need to do is destroy his last 2 cities, at which point his faction will begin to dissolve. The first target will be his capital city. I besieged it with 4 full armies, and was somewhat shocked to be greeted by a crushing defeat auto-resolve. After
Aw, you're 4 armies,
starting
what?
the battle, I realized the problem. Vampire castles appear to convey a debuff of negative 70 leadership on all of my units. For reference, most units don't even
Holy fucking shit. Okay, yeah. Holy
have
fuck.
70 leadership in the first place. This resulted in half of my army immediately deserting me, with the other half being as emotionally stable as your average League of Legends player. I don't want to sound like a diva, but this was bullshit, which is why I had no problem using my own variety of immoral strategies. If you're going to terror rout my entire army after 5 minutes of fighting, I'll spend those 5 minutes destroying your walls with cannons and pelting all of your soldiers with frozen arrows. And then
You know what? Based and
when I'm
justified.
forced to retreat, I'll come back and do the whole thing all over again because I've refilled my ammunition. I had to do this 4 times on the same turn before
4 times? Nah, fuck that. I just said GG, GG.
the vampires were so horribly disfigured that they just kind of gave up. Only 1 more city to go. I passed the turn with victory in my eyes and triumph pumping through my veins. And that's when we were presented with a unique opportunity. We need to kill Vlad to win, but for the past 20 turns he's been in some kind of witness protection program.
They really are just like all like, I protect the president. Like they're all crowded around him like that. I've legit never seen that.
But right now, he's out of position. All that's between us and him is 8 vampire armies, so I gathered up my 5 stack and began barreling down on him. Fortunately, I was able to auto-resolve the first 4 armies, but the next 4, which included Vlad himself, weren't so easy. For this, our final battle, I would have to rely on my hundreds of hours of tactical knowledge to implement the most ingenious battle strategy imaginable. Or, I could just set up all my units in the corner like a filthy degenerate. Obviously, I did the
Yeah, I would do that too. I would do that
latter.
too.
You might consider this to be in poor taste, but all of my armies are half dead, I burnt through most of my trinkets, and if we lose this battle, I'm going to commit an honor killing on myself. So I don't have much of a choice.
Bro.
Optimally, we all survive, but really, I don't care. As long as we can assassinate Vlad, I'm calling it a campaign victory and taking a handful of random pills in celebration.
Bro, why? That's not a fucking Seth level of thing to do.
The battle started with the undead organizing their forces. In response, I sent a delegation of Bulgarians to remind the vampires that I hate them. This initiated the Great Undead March. Vlad led the charge by absorbing 700 arrows to the face, but his regeneration was keeping him in the fight. Fortunately, I've got some more tricks up my sleeve. For example, as the legions of ghouls crashed against my lines, I pushed forward my incarnate beast.
I'm sorry, what? I've not seen this. What is that thing? That's like a nightmare monster.
This allowed the enemy units to gather around my incarnate, which gives me the perfect opportunity to cast every vortex spell in my library. The Witch's Cauldron is a new one, and it's very powerful, but in terms of raw efficiency, Heart of Winter is absolutely unreal. Every time I'd cast a spell, the balance of power would shift in our favor, but the vampires have an ungodly amount of reinforcements, which would push it right back. However, we also have reinforcements, including an army of 20 spiders, each one armed with
Oh, I forgot about the fucking spooters.
the Explode on Death trinket. I had them skitter across the map and begin dive bombing the enemy from behind. This helped me free up the left flank and close in on Vlad, who was now sporting about 7 debuffs and substantially less health than he would prefer. Eventually, my Frost Worm was able to beat the life out of him, thereby securing our moral victory.
Wait, they got him? They got Vlad? Let's go.
But the battle was still raging on, and my front line didn't exist anymore. We did have a late resurgence thanks to this trinket, which allows my soldiers to transform into gigantic bears when they get low on health. But over time, they too fell to the hordes of the undead. I stared off into the sunset as the final remnants of my army crumbled before me, waiting patiently for the defeat screen to greet me. This was
Where's the twist? I'm expecting but then the Riders of Rohan appeared and charged the enemy from the left flank and saved the
was
day.
the definition of a bittersweet battle. We did kill Vlad, but paid the ultimate price for it. Fortunately, the allies of Order rally in support of us, and to them, I leave the rest. Mostly because it's 5 AM and I don't have time to kill 20 more full stacks. So that's going to be it for this video. We've weaponized child labor, old people witchcraft, and Slavic customs to save the world from a vampire apocalypse. Thank you to the channel patrons, our sponsor, Displate, and finally, thank you for watching.
Damn, okay, I enjoyed that one. That was good. That was a good Reggie video. Okay, guys. Also, side note for those of you who get to this point in the video, I apologize for not having commented or replied or liked many comments of the last video. My dog has been in surgery all today, so I've been incredibly busy. He's back. He's okay. He's fine. No need to worry. He's all good. So that's why I've been absent yesterday, Wednesday. This will be going out on Thursday. So yeah, yesterday I was absent all day. But we're fine. We're back. Should be back to normal now, guys. So yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.